Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
And we're just a deadly duo in love that loves reacting to some death battle.
It's time for a death battle.
Yeah, and so we're checking out Death Battle. Demon Slayer versus JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Tanjiro versus Jonathan Joestar. If you want all of our Death Battle reactions, we have a playlist down below in the description of this video. Also link to Patreon. You can get early free access to our reactions. Okay, ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Okay.
You guys match your little blue sweaters.
The sun-breathing demon slayer swordsman.
Jonathan Joestar, the very first JoJo who ever Jojed.
These two anime monster hunters are as deadly with a blade as they are infinitely good-natured.
But don't cross them, else they might leave you breathless. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Daisho Japan, an era of unparalleled progress and imperial domination. But this empire had a sickness, a rot at its core.
Ooh.
Demons. This race of superhuman cannibals originated from one being, their all-powerful progenitor, Muzan Kibutsuji.
Who spent his evenings slaughtering families and eating them, including the Komodo clan.
Though one of them fatefully survived, the eldest son, Tanjiro.
Well, the good news is your sister Nezuko is alive too. Bad news is she's a demon now. So sorry, champ, I'm chalking this day up as an L.
But Tanjiro possessed the golden heart of an anime protagonist,
Certified
and he
group mom
devoted
and
his life to
cinnamon roll.
curing Nezuko's curse and ending Muzan's evil once and for all.
So he joined the Demon Slayer Corps, a secret group of badass demon hunters with badass swords. Forged from a unique sunlight-absorbing ore, the Nichiren blade is one of the only weapons that can decapitate a demon and end their unholy existence for good, especially when combined with the Slayer's fancy pants katana magic.
It isn't katana magic. Okay, well, it's totally katana magic, but that's not what it's called.
Yeah, it's breathing, which is so lame. Anybody can do that. Oh, God. I was wrong.
The use of breathing is crucial to real-life martial arts. Deeper breaths massage the organs below the diaphragm, relaxing your body and lowering its energy requirement, while simultaneously giving you more energy to use.
Tanjiro mastered this breathing shit so well, he could do it in his sleep, literally 24/7.
This is total concentration breathing, a technique developed by the Demon Slayers in order to massively increase their physical abilities to match their blatantly superhuman foes. Through the measured intake of oxygen, users can boost their concentration, reactions, and even manipulate the flow of their blood. This can help in slowing down poisons or speeding up the coagulation of wounds.
Which means he can use it to quickly recover in case of injury or fatigue, and Demon Slayers can combine their breathing with their blades for, well, katana magic.
Each breathing style is a separate form of sword combat. The first form Tanjiro mastered was water breathing, a flexible defensive style where a user's blade summons water to slice like a raging current.
All the arms.
Tanjiro's literal boneheaded stubbornness made him a prodigy demon slayer in no time.
He proved to be a tactical genius in combat, able to discern an opponent's weaknesses and exploit them in the heat of the moment. It was almost as if demon slaying was in his very blood.
Nice.
Because it was! Hundreds of years ago, the creator of the very first breathing style taught this knowledge to Tanjiro's ancestors, who passed it down to Tanjiro himself.
This was the dance of the fire god, the Hinokami Kagura, sun breathing.
With sun breathing, Tanjiro's sword bursts into godlike flames that slow a demon's healing factor and can turn into a wicked fire dragon.
Sun breathing increases Tanjiro's speed and power, but at a cost. It will quickly tire him out, and overuse could severely debilitate him.
Which can also turn on this really distracting birthmark on his forehead.
Through intense stress and exertion, Tanjiro can activate this Demon Slayer mark, which boosts his already crazy strength and speed even further.
And gives him access to the see-through world. Basically, it slows down time for Tanjiro and gives him x-ray vision.
This allows him such a precise understanding of his opponent's muscle movements that he can predict their future actions. Sort of like a spider sense. He can even do the same with just his sense of smell. No Demon Slayer mark needed. Not only can his nose detect people from hundreds of yards away, it lets him find an opponent's opening in battle even easier than before.
You'd think being an anime swordsman would make Tanjiro even edgier than his blade, but he's basically the group mom, with an innocent little cherub sweetness matched only by his raw badassery.
Tanjiro is tough enough to survive being stabbed in the stomach, fast enough to dodge lightning, and strong enough to slice through and derail a literal demon train.
That demon turned himself into a train, Wiz! Funniest shit I've ever seen. And this demon demon Doma was able to freeze the air into this giant ice statue in only a few seconds. That takes a lot of energy.
And Tanjiro's managed to keep up with similarly powerful demons like Hantengu, Akaza, and eventually the strongest of them all, Muzan himself.
With the help of his friends, of course.
It would take all their efforts and countless sacrifices, but Tanjiro and the Demon Slayers would continue to fight to realize their dream of a world that is safe for humanity. And whatever Inosuke is.
What the hell? Man Bear Pig.
Victorian England, an infamously shit-tastic time to be alive.
Whether you were a lowly street rat or a wealthy noble. Okay, well, that last one probably wasn't so bad.
That is, unless your dad, in all his infinite wisdom, decided to adopt the single greatest asshole in human history and make him your brother. That'd make you one unlucky schmuck.
That would make you Jonathan Joestar.
Hadn't you heard, Wiz? Everybody just calls him JoJo.
In an effort to take the Joestar fortune for himself, Jonathan's new brother Dio dedicated his life to breaking Jonathan emotionally, turning him into a docile puppet. But after being bullied, beaten, and thoroughly traumatized, something awakened deep in Jonathan's heart. The raging fire
Thanks, Dio, but
of
it's
a
complicated.
gentleman.
I don't think beating the living piss out of Dio was gentle, but it sure was satisfying. Too bad it didn't last forever, because only a few years later, Dio got his revenge when he turned into a vampire and killed Papa Joestar. Classic Dio.
With Dio now bent on world domination, Jonathan would need more than his righteous fist to save the day.
Yeah, he needed a creepy floating Italian man that punches frogs with the power of the sun.
It wasn't just any creepy floating Italian man. It was Will Antonio Zeppeli, a practitioner of Haman, an ancient martial art designed specifically to do battle against vampires like Dio. Through their breaths, Haman users can blast a hot electric ripple out of their bodies and flood it into their opponents.
Wow.
That's what Haman means in English. The ripple. Man, if I had a nickel for every anime protagonist who killed monsters with the power of breathing, well, that'd be 2 nickels. But let's agree, it's weird that it happened twice.
Haman energy massively increases a user's physical abilities and allows them to disintegrate vampires with a single punch. In order to fight Dio, Zeppeli taught Jonathan everything he knew.
Like the zoom punch, where Jonathan stretches his arm and punches an opponent from far away like he jumped on a gum-gum fruit. He does this by using the ripple to dull the pain of dislocating his shoulder before snapping it back. That might sound crazy, but there are real-life examples of breathing basically giving people superpowers.
Like the Dutch adventurer Wim Hof, who can survive being nearly totally submerged in ice water for almost 2 hours. Through forced exhalation, Hof drops his oxygen levels in order to supercharge his body's thermoregulation and release euphoric chemicals to numb the pain, just like the zoom punch.
Haman is basically just like the Eastern idea of chi, voila, which is circulated through the body by, what else, breathing. And just like chi, it can do lots of crazy shit.
Like walking on water, magnetizing plants, or controlling an enemy's muscles. It can even be transferred through solid surfaces like metal.
And he can catch his fists on fire and slam you senseless with his patented Sunlight Yellow Overdrive. It'll leave any monster smiling and satisfied.
Jonathan took these skills as he, Zeppeli, and the definitely not just there for exposition Speedwagon invaded Dio's domain and waged war against an army of bloodthirsty zombies.
Including Dio's right-hand monsters, Bruford and Tarkus. Tarkus was strong enough to rip entire boulders out of the ground and slice through a cliff with one swing. He can even snap JoJo's neck and cut our old pal Zeppeli in half. Rest in peace, creepy floating Italian man. Sorry you had to be born the mentor. Hope none of your relatives die horrifying deaths too.
Before succumbing, Zeppeli's last act was to pass his ripple onto Jonathan, not only allowing him to heal his own broken neck, but also combine their energies together.
And making JoJo strong enough to cut through Tarkus's giant arm, not with his nifty new sword Pluck, with his bare goddamn hand.
With this power boost, Jonathan faced Dio once and for all, and fisted him with his raging hot ripple. Wait.
Now, Fisted Dio was pretty impressive, considering Dio could later fight faster than light stands like Star Platinum. Hell, even other Ripple users like Joseph can dodge beams of light too.
But more than his strength or speed, or even Haman, Jonathan's greatest strength was always his intelligence and unstoppable determination. It was that burning drive for justice that defeated Dio all those years ago, and the same one that defeated him again. But this victory was bittersweet.
He may be built like a brick shithouse, but Jonathan's got the personality of a golden retriever. Even after everything Dio did to him, all the lies and abuse and dad murder, Jonathan still loved him like a brother and still cried those hot, wet 80s man-made tears.
And even after Dio returned on Jonathan's wedding night to murder him and steal his body, Jonathan sacrificed himself so his wife and unborn child could escape. But he did not die in vain. His bloodline would continue throughout the ages, spawning a line of illustrious and bizarre heroes who would crush Dio's plans and save the universe.
And they all had one thing in common. His name, JoJo. Wait, is the ripple his
Ready?
Ready.
I'm going with JoJo for 10.
JoJo for 10.
Wow. Okay. Why do you think JoJo?
It's not really why I think JoJo. It's more like they hooked me with he has the personality of a golden retriever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then like that paired with the self-sacrifice that his mom and his child, or not his mom, his wife and his child escape. I was just like, oh, he's so good. And Dio is such an ass. And he still cried over I'm like, he's such a good guy. Like, I want to cheer for him.
I thought it was going to be Tanjiro from up until like the end there. Like, I'm like, okay. Then they said that like really quickly at the end that JoJo can also dodge like light beams or whatever. And so like makes him like think like just as fast. And like, plus he was able to split somebody with like just his hand instead of a sword. I'm like, okay, so he might even have the strength over Tanjiro. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tanjiro won.
Yeah, the certified group mom with cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, they're both
so
good,
great.
They're both good people.
Yeah, I mean, I can't cheer against Tanjiro, so it really becomes a question of like, who did I want to cheer for more? And JoJo's had a tough life, and his stepbrother's a dick, so you know, I want to cheer for him.
Okay.
Cool environment.
Mm-hmm.
Step aside! I've sworn to slay all of Dio's demonic minions.
I don't know who you are, but you better leave her alone.
Oh, he's protecting his zombie sister.
Wretch, shackled by the chains of this harpy's insidious mind control, on my honor as a gentleman, I will free you!
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Did you bump your head? Total concentration. Water breathing.
Most unorthodox.
Most unorthodox.
Noble swordsman, but I know the burning passion of my heart will carry me through.
Oh, he's kind of adorable. I wonder if he has a caretaker nearby.
You're mine. Valiant footwork.
Ooh.
Tree birds.
Poor tree.
Mm-hmm.
Nice try.
Oh yeah, I forgot about sniffing.
You could teach me a thing or two. Scarlet Overdrive!
Uh-oh.
His breathing is carrying some kind of energy. Like me. And that means I know how to stop him.
He's focusing on my neck. Does he know? Metal Silver Overdrive!
Okay.
What just happened?
Uh-oh.
I've got you!
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
He's going for my lungs!
Dodge it, JoJo.
No.
2 inches off.
Oh, shit.
She's my sister.
Oh.
On my honor as a gentleman, I will protect her with my life.
That's the saddest one ever.
Oh my god.
But also, like, I don't know. Feel good vibes too, somehow. It's a weird, like, I'm so conflicted.
I'm not crying. I'm only crying really hard. Holy shit, hold me, bro.
Please don't touch me. On paper, Tanjiro did initially seem to have more advantages in this bout.
For sure. He'd been training for way longer than Jonathan, and with way more experienced teachers. Tanjiro's Demon Slayer journey took place over a couple of years, while Jonathan's Ripple training was less than a month.
Tanjiro was obviously a superior swordsman with a variety of powerful techniques and katana magic, while Jonathan really only improvised as a swordsman.
But that's where the advantages stop. Sure, Jonathan wasn't a natural swordsman, but he more than made up for it in hand-to-hand combat, while Tanjiro was pretty much out of options without a blade.
Jonathan also had an edge in strength. Comparing Tanjiro to Doma and JoJo to Tarkus, Jonathan was over twice as strong. And while Tanjiro later fought the more powerful Muzan, Jonathan did the same with Dio.
He was way faster too. While Tanjiro and his pals could dodge lightning, we can compare Jonathan to other Ripple users like Joseph, who could dodge light, which is over 3,000 times faster. That might seem crazy, but in part 3, Dio was able to keep up with stands like Star Platinum, which can move faster than light. Dio did this on his own, and that was while using Jonathan's body.
Even with multiple ways to predict Jonathan's movements and see the flow of his Ripple with X-ray vision, Tanjiro would not have been fast enough to keep up.
Especially with the Ripple backing him up. Sure, the water and fire Tanjiro generates is impressive, but Jonathan was tough enough to power through it. Tanjiro, though, had no way to defend against the Ripple bypassing his durability and directly messing with his organs.
Such as manipulating his muscles like a puppeteer, or directly shutting off his brain or heart, something other Ripple users have done to ordinary humans with a single zap. And Jonathan had the opportunity to do this literally every time Tanjiro blocked his blade.
Sure, Tanjiro could recover himself with a breath, but that'd be a breath spent healing and not, fighting.
And while Sun Breathing's overuse was dangerous to Tanjiro, JoJo's Hamon had no such drawback.
Which meant that JoJo could keep fighting for as long as he needed to.
Tanjiro was never going to go down easy, but Jonathan's speed, Hamon, and righteous gentlemanly fists carried him to victory.
Jonathan took Tanjiro's breath away.
The winner is Jonathan Joestar.
You stopped your losing streak. Got back on the winning side.
Yeah, but like I need to win and you need to lose. Like it's so I can.
It's not about who wins and who loses.
Oh,
it's about
whatever.
But with that, you are now above. You're back in the over 200 club.
Yay!
So you have 205, and then I got 275.
Oh, whatever.
Which is slightly higher than 205. It's just like $70 higher if we're being specific. But anyways, let's talk about the fight. I thought it was really great, and I love my wife.
It was a good fight. It was a heartbreaking fight.
Yeah. They did a great job there at the end. I mean, it was so cheesy and hokey, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was perfect. All I could think was when Tanjiro said that, I was like, yeah, but you could have led with that. Like, you could have led with that, and we wouldn't be here at this moment.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And I love how not only did they have Tanjiro die in JoJo's arms, but then they showed JoJo's hand and the sister and like, would she or wouldn't she trust him or take his hand? Like, that was just great.
Yeah. Nice way to wrap it all up. And the fight itself was fun. They usually do a good job of having you guessing like who's going to win. Sometimes it's a little more obvious than others. But this time, like I thought for sure when he stabbed him, I'm like, oh, yeah, he got it. That's it. It's over. So that was one of the better fake outs they've done as far as like, oh no, he was so fast that he wasn't able to dodge the blade completely. Because I thought that he was going to be able to dodge the blade.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't able to dodge the blade completely, but he dodged it just enough so he didn't get to his lungs. So that was clever.
Yeah. That's pretty genius.
Let us know what you thought about this down below in the comments. And if you want early ad-free access to our reactions, we got a Patreon link down below in the description of this video, as well as a link to a playlist for all of our Death Battle reactions here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for checking out our reaction for Death Battle Tanjiro versus Jonathan Joestar, which keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.